Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so narratively speaking, Combat Evolved isn't exactly trying to win any literary award, but it absolutely excels at establishing an iconic universe without bogging you down in hours of tedious exposition, and it just works so damn well. Like the game kicks off on the Pillar of Autumn, which is this human spaceship fleeing from Planet Reach. The ship blind jumps through hyperspace to escape detection and accidentally stumbles upon a huge artificial ring floating in deep space. And chasing humanity is the Covenant, an alliance of alien species who worship an ancient and an extinct race known as the Forerunners. The Covenant simply wants humanity exterminated, and they view this mysterious ring, dubbed Halo, as a holy relic. So, with the ship under assault, the human crew has no choice but to wake up their ultimate weapon from cryosleep, the Master Chief, a green-armored Spartan super soldier who actually lets his assault rifle do 90% of the talking. And Chief is partnered with Cortana, a highly advanced artificial intelligence who gets downloaded right into his helmet, serving as the brains to his copious amounts of brawn. So like the early hours of the campaign are a masterclass in establishing a desperate, boots-on-the-ground military conflict. Cause like you crash land on this mysterious land and spend the first few missions rallying surviving space marines, fighting off the colorful but deadly Covenant forces, and trying to figure out what the hell this giant hula hoop actually does. Anyways, later on Captain Keyes gets captured, so then you gotta do a rescue mission aboard a Covenant ship, and like the overarching goal simply revolves around keeping Cortana's vast wealth of human data out of alien hands. Anyways, Master Chief himself is fairly insipid by modern storytelling standards, like underneath the metallic green exterior lies a man of remarkably few words. And I actually love this approach to storytelling. Cause unlike later games in the series, I'm looking directly at you Halo 4 and 5. You don't need to read 15 novels and a comic book series just to understand what's happening on the screen. The game just drops you into a war, points you at the bad guys, and lets the environmental storytelling do the heavy lifting. However, exactly halfway through the game, Bungie pulls off one of the greatest narrative rug pulls. While searching some facility for Captain Keyes, you stumble upon a recording of your Marine buddies getting completely slaughtered by something entirely new. Enter the Flood, a horrifying parasitic hive mind organism that reanimates the dead and turns the game from this colorful sci-fi shooter into a survival horror shooter. And also, it's abruptly revealed that this Halo ring isn't some religious artifact. It's actually a galactic super weapon designed to starve the Flood by wiping out all sentient life in the universe. And suddenly, you're allied with a floating, overly cheerful blue light bulb called Guilty Spark, who casually tries to trick Master Chief into firing at the ring and committing galactic genocide. The plot rapidly shifts into a three-way war between humanity, the Covenant, and the Flood, culminating in Master Chief blowing up his own ship's fusion reactors to shatter the ring into a million pieces. The storytelling relies heavily on atmosphere rather than endless cutscenes. The game never wastes your time explaining the intricate politics of the Covenant or the deep lore of the Forerunners. It simply hands you a shotgun, points to the terrifying space zombies and says, "Go to work." It's beautifully simple, and I can't wait to see how it's all gonna play out in the Campaign Evolved remake. Okay, let's very quickly touch visuals and the art style. So to judge the visuals of a game from 2001 requires a healthy dose of context, but the art direction of the OG Halo remains an absolute triumph of mood and atmosphere. Yes, it has blocky character models, low-res textures, and environments constructed out of repetitive polygons. However, the human brain is remarkably good at filling in the details, and the original art direction was purposefully crafted to evoke a very specific feeling of ancient, unknowable mystery. The Forerunner architecture in the classic graphics is monolithic and cold. Wandering through the enormous underground chasms feels like exploring a forgotten Egyptian tomb in deep space, like it gives you an eerie, uncomfortable vibe that you're trespassing in a place that has been dead for millennia. The Covenant ships are appropriately alien, with like sleek purples and dark corridors, while the human tech looks utilitarian and militaristic. It's a cohesive aesthetic that perfectly matches the enigmatic tone of the narrative. What Bungie achieved with the combat loop here is nothing short of miraculous, establishing a paradigm that the entire industry desperately tried to copy for a decade. The devs referred to their core combat philosophy as the golden triangle of Halo, which is this perfect balance between shooting, throwing grenades, and melee attacks. In older shooters like Doom or Half-Life, throwing a grenade or meleeing an enemy required putting away your current weapon and manually equipping a new one, which slowed down the pace of combat. Halo mapped grenades and melee strikes to their own dedicated buttons, letting you combine all three together. Another kinda controversial yet brilliant design choice was the hard limit on the player's inventory. Halo restricts you to carrying only 2 weapons at a time. This single decision kinda revolutionized the genre. Instead of running around with a magical backpack holding 15 different guns like you were playing Quake, you were now forced to adapt your tactics based on whatever guns happened to be lying around. Like dropping an empty sniper rifle for an alien plasma pistol during a desperate fight creates incredible moments of gameplay. You always feel like you're just barely scraping by, making do with the tools at hand. Furthermore, the introduction of the regen energy shield changed how you approach combat. Instead of searching the map for health packs and hiding in a corner like a coward, the recharging shield encourages aggressive playstyle. Yes, you still have a standard health bar underneath the shield that requires traditional medkits, bridging the gap between old-school shooters and modern mechanics, but the shield is the main highlight here. So anyways, any great shooter requires a great arsenal of weapons, and OG Halo has a bunch of them. Almost every single weapon serves a distinct functional purpose. However, we can't talk about weapons without addressing the infamous Magnum. This pistol is an absolute war crime in the best way possible. Fitted with a 2x scope and explosive rounds, it's practically a pocket sniper rifle. And the rest of the human weapons are equally iconic. Like the assault rifle is amazing, with 60 rounds per mag, and while its accuracy at long range is kinda bad, it shreds enemies up close and has the fastest melee animation in the game. And the M90 shotgun is an absolute force of nature. It kicks like a mule and is virtually mandatory for surviving close quarters swarms of the Flood in the second half of the game, and like the sniper rifle and rocket launcher fulfill their traditional power weapon roles perfectly. Anyways, on the alien side, the Covenant weapons operate on a heat-up mechanic. So instead of reloading mags, these weapons overheat if fired continuously and eventually run out of power, forcing you to constantly discard them for fresh ones. The plasma pistol is notoriously brilliant. Then there's the Covenant plasma rifle, and being shot by the plasma rifle actively stuns the target. This hit-stun mechanic makes the plasma rifle an incredibly lethal suppression weapon. It's kinda tragic that they removed this stun mechanic in subsequent sequels, turning later versions into a generic energy weapon. Finally, there's the Needler, which fires these glowing pink crystals that sorta tracks the target, and like every single weapon has an identity, and that makes experimenting an absolute joy. Anyways, if the guns are the meat of the gameplay, the vehicles are the hot sauce poured all over it. Like it was one of the first games to have drivable vehicles into a first-person shooter with proper modern mechanics. You can hop in and out of alien ghosts, massive Scorpion tanks, and Covenant Banshees, fundamentally changing the scale and pacing of the game. But the absolute undisputed king here is the Warthog, and let me tell you, the Warthog in this game is completely unhinged. It steers based entirely on where you aim the camera, creating this floaty handling model that feels like you're driving it on wet ice. But despite the complete lack of realistic gravity, mastering the Warthog's driving mechanic is incredibly rewarding, and looking at the early footage of the campaign evolved remake, the new Warthog model looks a bit too low to the ground with almost zero suspension travel. I really hope they don't sanitize the wonky physics that made the OG so special. So, the campaign takes roughly 10 hours to beat, but it's essentially a tale of 2 different games. The first half of the campaign features some of the greatest level design ever put to disc. The second mission, simply titled Halo, drops you onto a large open-ended cliffside and basically tells you to go explore, rescue Marines, and figure out how to survive. It was mind-blowing in 2001 to step out of a cramped spaceship and look up at the sky to see a gigantic ring looping over the horizon. Then comes the Silent Cartographer, which allows you to drive a Warthog around the entire tropical island, choosing exactly how and when to engage the Covenant. But then the second half of the game arrives, and it becomes obvious that Bungie completely ran out of time, money, and sanity. It starts to get annoying in the mission, Assault on the Control Room. While it features some fantastic outdoor tank battles in the snow, the interior sections force you to fight through the exact same hexagonal room, followed by the exact same bridge, followed by the exact same hallway for what feels like hours. It's kinda confusing and deeply monotonous. Then comes the lowest point of the game, the library. This mission is globally recognized as an absolute war crime of level design. Like you're forced to follow a floating light bulb through 4 floors of literally identical repetitive corridors. Like the devs themselves have admitted that they had to cordon off areas and artificially extend the level to test the player's endurance because hardware limitations at the time crushed their original, more vibrant designs for the facility. And even the epic final mission is just the opening level played backward. But to be fair, throwing unpredictable flood enemy into these familiar environments does dynamically change how the combat encounters play out, but the blatant asset recycling is impossible to ignore. So, looking back at it today, it's almost impossible to overstate the seismic impact this game had on the industry. It dragged console shooters out of the dark ages, established the modern control scheme, and integrated chaotic vehicular combat into the gameplay. But historical significance alone doesn't make a game fun to play. Like underneath some deeply charming flaws lies a combat loop that is practically flawless. And while the industry holds its breath for the new Campaign Evolved remake, I can confidently tell you that there's absolutely no reason to leave the OG behind. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.